Take her away, Ian.
Yeah, take it away, Ernie. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Fell over? What you fell over for?
Out for a little walk in the moonlight.
7:30. Where were we at 7:30?
I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
Turn to page 394.
You foul, loathsome, evil little cockroach!
I didn't mean to.
Mischief managed.
You and your bloody chicken.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for listening to Retold, the podcast where I retell you my favorite story of all time, Harry Potter. Every week, I go through the Harry Potter books 2 chapters at a time. Currently, we are in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. And every week, we do a quiz section with some trivia on the chapters. We also talk about our favorite lines, lore, behind-the-scenes things, and transfigurations, differences that the books made from the movies, and at the differences that the movies made from the books. I do that every time. And then at the end of the episode, we have our restricted section filled with all kinds of spoilers. But I'm never on this journey alone. With me every single week, I have a guest host. And this week, coming back, we've got Jessie.
Yay! I'm so glad to be back.
I'm so happy to have you back. Last week, or I say last week because I recorded it last week, but 2 episodes ago, I had Jonathan on, and he's sitting where you sat, and I'm doing my little intro, and I say the spiel and all that, and right when I get to the point where I'm supposed to say, but I never do this journey alone, he was like this, like if I was about to pounce on the mic, listeners, is what he looked like, and he goes, but he never takes this journey alone.
Oh, my goodness.
So you'll hear that when that comes out.
Yeah, I can't wait for it.
All right, so, Jessie, remind the people real quick, just, your house. What are you again?
Oh, you don't know, but I'm just kidding. I am a Ravenclaw. I have the shirt on.
Yeah. You see my Ravenclaw blanket over there?
Yes, I love it.
Mm-hmm. Next to the Hufflepuff one.
Very nice.
Well, cool. So we're in the Burr months now. Mm-hmm. October, November, December, for our non-English.
Oh, I thought you meant like Burr cold.
I guess in some parts. September is not that a cold of a month here.
No, not September, but it got chilly a couple days ago.
Yeah, especially doing landscaping in the mornings. Mm-hmm. I'm getting toasty. I got to put a jacket over my legs when I'm on the sitting mower. I'm like, Dad's making fun of me. But it's kind of Harry Potter season. Mm-hmm. This is the time to rewatch the movies, get back into the books for people. Listeners, that's why you should share this podcast with people at this time. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, listeners. Anyway, so I don't really have an opening question because you kind of have been on the podcast several times at this point. But I guess I would say, is there anything like pottery going on in your world right now?
Well, yes, of course. There always is. But my son and I just rewatched the 3rd movie for this book.
Yay.
And then also he's looking a bit too much like Harry Potter because this week has been a week of head injuries.
No!
And he fell and he cut his head open and there's blood all over the floor. But his scar it's not that bad. It's actually pretty hidden by his hair. Mm-hmm. And he's fine.
It's like Harry.
It is. Yeah. He's fine. And then this morning he fell off the bed head first. And again, as of now, he's fine. But it's been a bit of a week. He's 1.
1 year old.
He is exactly the age that Harry would have been whisked off to Dursley.
Don't speak that right now.
I know.
So I guess I'll say it here. I actually wrote it in my notes for a certain point in the chapter, but this is a better segue. Talking about your 1-year-old, it's relevant because there's a moment in this chapter where something kind of similar triggered in my head, but I was not aware, I was aware, but I've never actually experienced and seen firsthand toddlers wanting to do what they're told not to do.
Oh, yeah.
And people are of course, it's an obvious thing. People say it all the time, but I've never got to watch it unfold. Well, for my wife's birthday the other night, when you and our other friends were over, there were a few toddlers going around. What is it?
JB,
your 1-year-old. When he was running around the house, he would get to our staircase, and he would try to go down the staircase. And every time you or your husband would stop him, no, don't do that. Well, there was one moment, and this was fascinating to me. So he definitely processed he wasn't supposed to do this because he was running around, just sprinting in our living room. And then he goes to the hallway that connects to the kitchen as if he's going to sprint into the kitchen. But he abrupt stops at the staircase, turns and looks back at me and smiles. And then he almost jumps down the stairs, but he falls head first. And I think you grabbed his leg.
I caught his leg. So, listener, I reached down, grabbed the baby's leg. He went head first down the stairs.
That was wild. He knew what he was doing. He was just like, yeah.
So thanks for telling that story. So now I don't feel as bad of a parent when you hear at the beginning that my toddler has hit his head twice already this week.
He's just a little rambunctious guy.
Yeah.
Well, other than that, yeah, I mean, it's the perfect time to be rewatching the movies. The other night when Bailey and I were going to bed, I played the 6th movie because I feel like it's the most kind of just put it on.
It's a very warm movie. Like you were talking, like the whole vision of the movie is just golden. Mm-hmm. So, and it's got like a lot of rom-com elements.
Yeah, yeah. Our friend said it was very much the most character-driven movie. Mm-hmm. So it's not like there's not a lot of bombastic moments except toward the end. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of just like enjoying the vibe, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, until the end.
Or vegging out.
Ruins it.
But other than that, I guess I'm excited this month. I guess by the time this episode comes out, the audiobooks, the new ones will be out. Are you going to get any of those?
Yes, I'm super excited, and so is Parker, because Parker's never read the books, but he would listen to these.
Really?
And so I'm going to try to get him on to them for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very excited about that.
I saw a cute interview with, the new girl playing Hermione.
Yes, Arabella, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool name. But I loved, she's sitting next to the two boys that are voicing Harry and Ron in the audiobooks. And they asked her they were asking questions about the audiobooks. And then they jumped to the TV show and they say, can you tell us about anything you've been doing? And she goes, oh, I'd love to, but they casted a Muffliato curse on me and now I can't.
Oh, that's so cute.
It was really cute. And then I also just saw a scene where she's singing Hoggy Hoggy Hogwarts. And the two boys are in the studio with her. And they both have like little wooden instruments and they're clacking along to her singing. Oh, it was so cute. I loved it.
Cute. I love the trio that they've cast. I think they're adorable. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited. No matter what anyone says, I have the highest of hopes for it.
Of course. It's like, why suffer twice?
Yeah.
You know, if it's gonna suck.
I'll just be disappointed if it does suck.
At least let me have some hope. Okay. But anyway, we've got a lot to talk about.
Oh, yes.
So we're going to hop into our discussions, or our Quizzitch first of all. All right, and listeners, again, how this works every single week. We have a Quizzitch competition where me and my guest host ask each other questions. We also have our chapter retelling right after that. Then we do our favorite lines of the chapter, highlight those, get into transfiguration section, and then the golden snitch section, which is lore, behind the scenes things. Do it all again for the next chapter, and then we have our restricted section. But now we're going to get into our Quizzitch section. And so, Jesse, if I'm remembering correctly, pretty sure I am down. I was down by 3, but I don't want to call anybody out. I don't want to say anything bad. There was an episode where I technically got the answer right, you know, and so I don't want to say too much more in case people listen and point out whatever, but I technically got it right. So I'm down by 2. The only issue is I don't think it matters too much because I'm facing you right now, but our 2-time Jeopardy champion. But I am down by 2 points currently, and this won't be the last time. I'll still have the best of book episode. We'll see what happens. But you love trivia more than any of my other guests, really. And I love trivia so much, and I always hate having to end the segment. So we're going to do a few extra questions probably, but we have a bunch of questions. We'll get it kicked off. This time, I will go first, okay? Because you definitely have more questions than me. So if
as per usual.
And then at the end of it, we'll have you say the audience quiz question. Okay. So, question number 1. So I thought this was interesting. I'm going to read this. This will be like a complete the line, actually.
Ooh,
just about.
Oh, okay.
I've never done one like this before.
I know that's pretty tricky.
Right? I think it's one you can handle.
Yeah. You know, it is funny though. So my favorite movie is Howl's Moving Castle, and we dressed up as that.
Oh yeah,
Halloween.
I meant to bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was looking for a quote to put on it, and I have the entire English script memorized. And so I was like going through the script in my head, and I was like,
sitting there.
Which one should I pick? And then I wanted to make sure I had it exactly right, so I put it in AI, and I was like, isn't this the sequence of lines in the ending of the movie? And AI was like, you're exactly right. And I was like, thank you. But that's like the one movie I could probably recite the whole movie.
Yeah, so you dressed up as
Sophie.
Mm-hmm. Great costume. Love that. And I loved your husband dressing up as Hal.
Yeah,
Oh
so
goodness.
he was Hal, and he just let me dress him, but he had no idea what he was doing or who he was.
I'm sure. Was your son supposed to be...
He's Calcifer.
Calcifer. Oh, that's right. That's right. I saw another couple, and it looked like... I think I saw another outfit of just a couple online, and they had their son be the Scarecrow.
Yes, yeah. The other, it was Turniphead or Heinz, the little dog or Heinz. I think it's Heinz. I don't know. The English dub adds him. I mean, the movie adds him in. He's not in the book, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I should say this here, too. This is kind of pottery. We went to a Halloween party, and... a birthday party, but it was mandatory costumes. Mandatory. Bailey and I walk in costume. Nobody else is wearing costumes. Oh. Even the hosts who sent out the invitation.
Well, how could it be mandatory then?
What they did, like they had a very low caliber costume. It was the two hosts. They were dressing as Mr. and Mrs. Smith from the movie, and it was after the fight in that movie. And so basically all that entails... I don't know. It's the movie, it's called Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's a
okay.
Brad Pitt movie. But all that entails is that he wore a white shirt and like...
So they were dressing up as
like white
people.
boxers. Yeah, and she wore just an oversized white button-up shirt. And I was like... Because we went to Target, and we went to the like maternity... costumes, and there's a giant cauldron.
Oh.
And so Bailey wore the cauldron, and I have my wizard's robe, so I wore that, and we came in like that.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Anyway, back to our Quizzitch section. Your first question. So Snape, he gets a little angry with Harry quite a few times. At the beginning of the chapter, though, when he's talking to Fudge, he's like, kind of sticking up for the kids and kind of throwing him under the bus at the same time.
I thought that was really funny.
Now, he says this. He says, consider, Minister, against all school rules, after all the precautions put in place for his protection, he says, out of bounds at night, consulting with a werewolf and a murderer. And what is the third thing he accuses Harry of? I'll give you a hint. He's been upset about this before.
Let me think. Hold on. Okay.
She's reciting the whole English script of the book right now.
Go through the line. Let me picture it in my head.
I do love this moment. It's very, like I said, it's very odd of him attacking and defending at the same time. It's like that moment in book 2 when he's talking, perhaps they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, but maybe not.
I guess, I think it was something about putting himself in reckless endangerment after all they'd been trying to protect him from this year. But I don't remember the exact line.
Yeah. We'll have to say that's incorrect.
Okay.
And the answer is, and I have reason to believe he has been visiting Hogsmeade.
Oh, yes. Oh, now I remember that. Dang.
That's all right.
Because the whole scuffle with Malfoy and yeah. And I should have remembered that.
That's all right. What's your question?
Okay.
I feel like in my head, I see your notes as like regular, harder, impossible. And after you get one wrong, jump into impossible.
I go jump into the really hard ones. All right, I'll do Madame Pomfrey comes over to give them chocolate, and what does Harry compare it to?
A brick?
No.
She came over to give them chocolate. I can only picture a brick. What's the answer?
A boulder.
A boulder?
He says it's a boulder of chocolate. It's so cute. I just picture her coming over with a boulder of chocolate.
Yeah. I think mine says brick.
Wait, really?
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, no, you're right.
Okay.
You know what's even pretty crappy?
What?
It looked like a small boulder.
Oh, you underlined
that's the only underline on that page.
That's funny.
Rats. Okay.
You're gaslighting me. You're like, oh, mine is special.
I really thought that has happened in the episode that just came out, there was a lady from Britain, and her version was different.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see. I'm going to ask you an obvious one. Like, you knew I was going to ask you this.
Okay.
When you see it. Where's Flitwick's office?
It's on the 7th floor, and then it's the 13th window to the right of the West Tower.
Correct. Yes. Correct. I wasn't even going to say, like, include West Tower part.
Okay,
good job.
I just remembered
was
that
West
one
Tower,
because I love later it has Harry as they're riding on Buckbeak and he's counting the windows.
Yeah, yeah. All right, what's my question?
All right. I'll do...
So it's 1-0.
This is one that you had to know that I was going to ask you. What day was Buckbeak supposed to be executed on?
It's the 3rd of June? The 3rd? Can I have another guess?
Yeah, sure.
7th?
No, so close. It's the 6th.
You know, that's one of the two I was in my head. I was like, it's either, and I hate saying these words now,
gave
6
you
or
2
7.
guesses, though,
And that's
so
fair.
it's
That's
okay.
fair. So I got it wrong. And you know what's crappy? That was one of my questions for you, too. And so I was like, what?
Knocked
Right.
it out, yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's 1-0. 1-0. Let's keep it rocking. Let's see. Who was it that went to go get the Dementors to get Sirius Black?
McNair.
That is correct. For funsies, do you know his first name?
Walden. That
Walden.
was almost one of my questions for you. So.
Good job.
I thought that was so funny because whenever I hear Walden, I think of Walden by Henry David Thoreau, which is a book that we had to read in IB Lit. And so Walden, that's all that I can think of.
Well, very good. Your
Okay.
question.
Your question. We talked about there's so many transfigurations in this book versus the movie. What in the book does McNair actually swing his axe into?
In the book, he throws it at Hagrid's fence.
Yes. Giving you a little easy one, get your confidence
I
up.
appreciate that. I was actually I was kind of surprised as you were asking the question because I thought you were going to ask me what actually happens in the movie. And I was like, that's interesting. I've never had somebody do that.
Oh, I didn't think that was fair game.
I didn't
in
either.
My mind.
But I was going to let it go because I
Yeah.
still knew the answer. Okay. Still, it's 2-1. 2-1. Let's see. Here's another fun one. When they time traveled, they travel not just through time, but through space as well. Where do they end up?
They end up in front of the front doors, and Hermione pulls them into the broom closet.
That is correct. Ding, ding, ding. Good job.
I thought that was really interesting because in
Yeah.
the movie they just stay in place, which makes sense.
Yeah, and I have a theory about this now
Okay.
after reading that. So
I'd
when we
like
get
to
to
hear
that part,
Yeah.
say it. But it was odd.
Okay, I'll ask you another funny one. What does Fudge consider placing as new guards for Hogwarts when he decides he's gonna take the Dementors back?
Dragons.
Yes, I know. I love the line that comes after that.
All right. Let's do one more, maybe two more.
Okay.
What score does Hermione get on her? You know it. I can see it. What score does Hermione get on her Level Studies final?
She gets a 320%, which
that's
I
good.
don't even know how that's possible.
I honestly think that was just a gag by J.K.
Yeah,
writing
it has to be because what like bonus question is like triple your score and add 20.
Yeah, I remember, what is it? She got like 112 or 120.
Yeah, she got 112 in like the first book.
on
She was
the
like,
Charms final.
"They're not expelling me if I can help it."
Okay, give me another one.
All right. I want this one is so interesting to me, but at the same time, I feel like it'd be easy. It'd be too easy.
No, that's fine.
You want an easy one?
My goal is no. Actually, I don't care.
Well, then I was considering.
Let's do
keeping
two more.
this
So you
for
have two more. I'll
audience.
do one more, and then we'll do the audience.
Okay. Then I'll give you a little bit. Okay. In the book, this is different than the movie. What is the path Harry and Hermione take from the school and then to get to the Forbidden Forest?
The path they
Yeah,
take?
it like it lists like where they go to stay out of sight.
I thought that was interesting. So this might be a reading comprehension error on my part, because what I kind of pictured as I read it was they just traveled along like the forest tree line. Essentially, that's kind of how I.
Yeah, but
pictured
it lists like the stuff that they cross and pass.
I know, like, the events of the night is they travel down, they get to Hagrid's hut, then they go to the Whomping Willow, and then they go to Hagrid's hut. Like they're, like, adjacent with...
No, I mean, like, before... So they've just left the castle, and their past selves are in Hagrid's hut, and they have to get down to the forest. It lists a number of... Because they're like, we can't be seen. We have to be all sneaky. And so they sneak through things to get down to the forest.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, it says they go through the vegetable garden behind the greenhouses around the Whomping Willow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I just like that part because they're like, ooh, through the vegetable patch around the greenhouses. And then
I feel like that's an unfair question.
Are you kidding?
I feel like that's an unfair one.
You asked me to complete a line. I mean, that wasn't that hard, though.
That's not to say. Give me another one.
Fine.
Give me another one.
Okay. How many pieces of chocolate had Madame Pomfrey given Harry and Hermione before, like, Fudge and Snape and all them come in?
They were in the middle of their fourth.
Yes.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I feel like the question I asked you originally wasn't that hard.
I think if you'd phrased it better, if it had been something
how did
like...
I phrased it? I explained it really well.
I think, because what I pictured in my mind seemed sufficient, but I think maybe if it was narrowed specifically
No, I said, like, before they got to Hagrid's hut. Like, they had to go into the woods. Between them going back in time and then getting to the Forbidden Forest, what was their path that they had to sneak through so nobody saw them?
But that's not the whole path. Because they stay along the tree line a bunch of times, too. I don't think it matters because you guys are already way up. I don't even care. You guys are winning so much.
Actually, I think I'm only up by 1, right?
Yeah, but that puts the world up by 3.
Okay. All right. World and I. Okay.
I'm only winning, Barry. Okay, last question for you.
Okay.
And you knew, because we talked about this before, it's a time-based one. What time do they leave? So, like, and what I mean by that is when Hermione does the time turner, what is the time that they depart and then they have to get back by?
Oh, the time that they leave. Well, I know what they say in the movies. I didn't remember it being said in the books.
Well, with the time that they arrive to is said in the movie, like 7:30.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's 7:30.
But
in the book, so it's said multiple times of, at least twice, I know, of it's this time. I'll even give you a bigger hint. Blank minutes to blank. And that's said when they leave, and then when they're running back to get to Dumbledore, they're like, they got to him at blank to blank.
Well, I think they got to him at 5 before midnight.
That's correct. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
Is that, okay. I think that's the answer. 5 minutes to midnight.
Okay, that was another one where I was like, I don't know if I understand the question right. Okay.
Oh, I need to get this right so I have something of a chance next episode.
I know. I'm trying to decide which one I want to save for the audience, though.
I think I'm squat out, too, because I think you even asked the ones I was going to ask.
Yeah. Because I'm like...
Oh, I do have one more, but...
Okay.
So don't worry. Just say, and I can even say mine for the audience question.
Oh, you can say yours for the audience question? Okay. Then, which vault is Sirius's?
7-Eleven.
Yes. Yeah, I thought that was so interesting.
Mm-hmm. It's a really dumb one, too. Of like, we'll get to it, but the context around it. Okay, so good job, Jessie.
Okay.
Guests maintain their lead. They extend their lead by another whole point.
Oh,
so I'm down by 3.
That was a fun round.
That was very intimidating. Like, we were definitely competitive on that. No,
I know, and I told you before I came, I'm like, we lost our last soccer game this morning, so I was like, I need redemption.
And you got it. You got it. So, well, audience, your Quizzits question for this week. What was your question last week? I don't remember. So Future Barry will come in right here and say it. Future Barry here. Your question last week was, how big was the blast radius created by Peter Pettigrew when he killed all those muggles in London? And the answer to that question was 20 feet. And that was your question for last week. If you got it right, good job. If you didn't, better luck next time. Next time being right now. Your question for this week is that there are 2 moments when Buckbeak paws at the ground to get a particular treat. What treat is he trying to get? Well, that's your Quizzes question for this week. If you want to answer that, write into theretoldpodcast@gmail.com or message me on Instagram at theretoldpodcast. And if you have any other thoughts or comments or questions you want to send in, please do that, and maybe we'll read them off at a later date. All right. Now, without further ado, it's time to hop into our chapters. And so, Jessie, I've been doing a mix of something in the last few episodes. With the shorter chapters, I do like a pretty strict retelling now. But with the longer ones, it's a little more vague, and it allows more room to talk about things, but also it's just a lot. Mm-hmm. And so, you might not hear me mention everything, but if there's something I don't mention that you're like, wait a minute, you can throw in whatever. But, and listeners, as always, this is the point of the show where I recap what happens. If Jessie interrupts me, she's not being rude. She's doing what I asked her to. All right, chapter 21, Hermione's Secret. I wrote the chapter art is different from what we get in the movie. You know, because the movie, it's like a round time turner thing.
I feel like the movie one is kind of cooler.
It is cooler. I like it. I don't know how when we get to that point, I might need to look at that line, because I don't know. Does she spin the top of it? Like,
I think she just turns it upside down.
Okay.
Like that.
All right. Lame.
I know. It's so much lamer.
So the kids are in the hospital, and Harry and Hermione are dropping some eaves on the minister and Snape. Snape is loving life right now. You know, he's putting his old spin on the things that happened, saying that, like, the kids were confounded. They were out of their mind. I'm surprised he didn't mention the attack. I really thought he would say it.
Yeah. And two, I think we should call out, because Snape gets really butthurt about this later, but the minister is talking about, I'll get you an Order of Merlin's second class, maybe first class if I can manage it, which is funny because we know Dumbledore has Order of Merlin first class. So
I'm curious too as to, like, why he doesn't get it, because
Snape?
Yeah, because
he didn't catch.
Well, he did. He did actually catch him.
Well,
it wasn't his fault that he got away. So I always thought that was odd that it was. I think the reason the Order of Merlin gets taken from him is because of his reactions afterwards, of how, like, crazy he seemed, and Fudge seeing that firsthand.
Yeah, he's like, maybe he's a little off balance.
Yeah, maybe we don't want this guy to represent this prestigious order.
Yeah.
Anyway, Snape's loving life. I like that moment where they go, "You don't know what happened to the Mentors?" He's like, "Crazy, they just left." Right back to the entrances.
Yeah.
I wrote down he kind of spares the kids. We mentioned that before, of, you know, he protects them by not saying everything, but also...
Yeah, he says they weren't responsible for their actions, but also Potter is horrible. This is what he's been doing.
He kind of sucks. So maybe if we want to punish him, you know. And even Fudge goes, well, whatever. Because at first he says the line of, like...
He's like, don't we all have a soft spot for Harry?
And when I love, though, and this is one of the traits I do like about Fudge, because I see it consistently in these earlier books. When he's pushed on stuff sometimes, he goes, I don't care. Just basically, he's like, whatever. So anyway, I do like Hermione's expression when Harry sees her, because her eyes are, like, wide open. It's very much like, are you hearing this? This is crazy. Madame Pomfrey brings him some chocolate and a hammer, and it looked like a boulder, not a brick. Holy frick. I'm so mad. I wrote it down. Okay. She's like, no worries, y'all. We got that serious guy. Pomfrey says, we got that serious guy, and he's going to get a little kiss now any minute. Harry says, what? Freaks out. Snape and Fudge come in, and they try to explain what's going on to him, and they don't do a great job. You know, my note was, don't say it crazy, because they are sweating, screaming.
You're like, when you have a totally bizarre story, let's start with, like, calmly giving your facts and evidence, not the rat, Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who loves conspiracy theories, and there was one time we're in public at the gym, and it was crowded, and he is telling me the most crazy conspiracy theories, and he's saying it like, very much like the two here. Eyes wide, hands moving a lot. Yeah. He's even squatting a little while he's saying it. And I was like, listen, if you're going to tell me something crazy, don't say it crazy.
Yeah.
All right, you're not helping yourself. Anyway, Madame Pomfrey's like, oh, I got this, bam, and she shoves chocolate in his mouth. Like she just straight up cuts Harry off by shoving the chocolate in his mouth.
I know, it says Harry choked.
In walks Daddy Dumbledore, and he's like, everybody get the frick out of here. I got to talk to these two. And Snape, he doesn't like this at all, because the minister goes to leave. But when Hermione's trying to talk to Dumbledore, Snape just goes like, shut up, child. Just very harsh, all caps.
Yeah.
Like, watch your
He
mouth.
says, hold your tongue.
Hold your tongue. And even the minister goes, yo, buddy, chill. Like, calm down. But as they're leaving, Fudge is holding the door for him to go, but he's standing there, and Snape's just like, Dumbledore, you're not going to pull a Dumbledore, are you? You know what's happened he was Sirius was capable of murder when he was just a kid, right? And you're quite angry about it. In the restricted section, I'm going to talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, I know, and I love, like, Dumbledore's like, my memory's as good as it ever was.
Yes, I love Dumbledore.
Severus
Really handles him well.
Yeah.
I love that scene. His comeback, that's what I wrote down. Dumbledore's comebacks are just really good in this scene.
There's so many good Dumbledore lines that, like I told you before, I have like 13 favorite lines, and half of them are Dumbledore.
So they all leave, and Dumbledore and the kids start talking. I said, I love Dumbledore's logic. And what I mean by that is they keep trying to tell him what the truth is. And he goes, I know it's the truth.
Yeah.
But we're not going to convince anybody. Like, Dumbledore's a good debater. He knows. And so, where he says, like, first of all, you guys are kids. Lupin's a werewolf. Nothing bad about that. It's just other people do think there's bad about that. And we don't have a rat. All right. And Sirius didn't act like an innocent guy. I like that line, too.
Yeah.
Like, he's not necessarily screaming, I'm not guilty.
Yeah. He's like, it looks pretty bad from everyone else's perspective.
Where I'm at, all things considered.
But I also love Dumbledore tells them, it's your turn to listen. Do not interrupt me. And then they interrupt him like 3 times.
Good catch. Anyway, Dumbledore says, it's time to reveal to the readers the whole Hermione subplot. Yay! And how she's been getting all her classes. It's time travel, y'all. And does he say 3 turns ought to do it?
No.
Is that what he says here?
Yes, he does say that. But he says, what we need is more time.
Mm-hmm. Wink, wink.
Yeah. And then he says 3 turns should do it.
Good. And he basically tells them, like, hey, 2 lives could be spared. Mm-hmm. Don't be seen. That's super illegal. Don't do any of that now. They get on out of there. So he rolls out, Dumbledore rolls out, and Harry's confused, but Hermione says to come here, and she has this super cool necklace, looks like an hourglass pendant on it, and she throws it over him. That is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, just to spoil it already, when she's spinning it, and he goes to touch it, and she just has that quick slap. Yes. Oh, great touch. I love that.
Yeah.
So she throws the pendant over him, and he's like, hey, this is kind of close. And she goes, chill, bro. But they try to, that doesn't happen, but I just think, that's just what I picture in my head when they're so, like, they both are sharing a necklace. But then they do it, Jessie. They time travel. Harry doesn't like it at all. He's like trying to scream, don't hear no noise.
Yeah.
And this is the part we were talking about earlier.
It reminds me, his description of this reminds me of the flu powder.
Yeah.
Traveling.
Flu powder, and then later with the...
Apparating.
Not apparating. Although that is also...
Well, the port key.
The port key.
Yeah.
The hook behind the navel every time. But they also travel, not just through time, but through space as well. Because, where are they?
In front of the front doors.
In front of the front front...
Whoa!
I have the word Great Hall written down, and I tried to say it all. They're in front of the front doors, everybody. The Great Hall. The Great Hall front doors. And this is I wrote down my theory. So my theory is that perhaps, and I'll need to I'll have to keep an eye on this throughout the books as we progress. But I wonder if the time turners don't just move you through time, but also to where you were at that time.
Well, that's what I thought was the only explicable thing.
Yeah, it's not that great of a theory. It just makes sense.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be seen. So the fact that the time turner returns you to where you were at that time is a little dangerous,
Perhaps it's because it's like, if usually the only people using a time turner are the ones who have had it. And so if you were to go back in time, you would know, hopefully it's at a time when you've already possessed a time turner. So it's like, oh, hey, me.
No.
Okay, you go and hide. I know Hermione says later, if you just barged in there, but I think those are like the...
Yeah, but she also says that loads of wizards have accidentally attacked and killed themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So...
And I think that might be the result of, like, side-along time travel. Because if it's a person who already has it, I don't see why they would attack themselves.
Or it could be that they returned to a time where they didn't already have the time
Yes,
counter.
which is dangerous because you're not supposed to travel that far back.
Yeah.
But that'll be in our golden snitch section,
Ooh.
listeners. Anyway, they hide in a closet, and Hermione explains everything to Harry, and they hear themselves go down, their past selves go down to Hagrid's. And I wrote down, Harry catches on pretty quick here. Like, it doesn't take too long. He even starts putting pieces together because she goes, what do they mean about 2 lives? And he goes, Buckbeak!
Yeah, I like...
Beaky!"
Harry is the one that figures out Dumbledore's plan. And in the movie, they give that all to Hermione. But in the book, it's Harry like, oh, duh, we're supposed to say Buckbeak.
He loves Beaky. But I wrote down... Why did I write Buckbeak explanation is funny? No brooms. Oh, it's because when Harry's explaining it, he says, that's who we're supposed to save because we got to use Buckbeak to fly up there. He told us where the room was, and that's how else are we going to get up there? And I was like, you've got brooms, dog. Like, you don't necessarily need Buckbeak to get up there.
Which, yeah, because he does. In the movie, he doesn't have his firebolt. Mm-hmm. But in the book, he does.
Good call out. I did write down, though, Harry definitely won't give up his firebolt to Sirius if, like, he has to go back.
Even though he finds out who got it for him.
Yeah, but not yet. So I'll just say they go outside of, or they wait outside of Hagrid's hut. I was like, is that right, Wart? They wait outside of Hagrid's hut, and right after Hermione has explained that they can't change the past, Harry says, okay, what if we change the past? Because he keeps like,
I know. I will read this part. So they're setting out from the front doors, and Hermione behind him, they tore across the vegetable gardens to the greenhouses, paused for a moment behind them, then set off again, as far as they could, skirting around the Whomping Willow, tearing towards the shelter of the forest.
You know, that would have been like if I had asked you everything that Snape said about all the rules the kids had broken. Yeah, but Mary, you didn't even name one thing. Not true. I did say Whomping Willow.
Okay, the reason why I thought this was a fair question is it reminded me of, like, Dora the Explorer.
Dora the Explorer?
Dora the Explorer. And it's like, the map, the map. And then they have, like, a sequence of events. Go across the vegetable patch. Go behind the greenhouse. And then, like, that's what I was thinking in my head. So
I have little sympathy because I didn't gain any ground. So but yeah, so Harry says, what if we just change the past, like, just a little? Go grab me some Pettigrew. But Hermione says, no. So the past trio leaves the hut. I wrote down I liked Harry watching the smushed grass because, he sees the grass smushed beneath. And it makes me think what popped in my mind when I saw that. Because, like obviously that's how you watch anybody that's invisible. You look at the surrounding environment. Mm-hmm. And it made me think of in The Return of the King, Lord of the Rings, when Frodo has the ring on at the end and Gollum watches his feet, like his little footprints in the dust volcano stuff up here. But they didn't hop on them and bite their finger off.
This is a much better outcome.
So the committee walks in and Harry's like, go, 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 because they got to grab Buckbeak when the committee's in there. Oh, here's a question I thought about asking, but I didn't. I feel like you already can guess what it is, but it was Harry says, when Hermione says, all we have is the time that when they're in there versus when they come out. Harry goes, that'll give us about
60 seconds.
60 seconds, yep. So Harry goes up, gives Buckbeak a little bow, and tries to pull him off, but Buckbeak, he's just being a little stubborn boy.
I know, I'm like, Buckbeak, you're trying so hard to not save your life. Like, you need to get on the program here.
Yeah.
And I also think it's, like, in the movie, they come up with a way to get Buckbeak to move, but in the book, it's like Harry and Hermione just dig in their heels and pull as hard as they can.
So I wrote down the scene is kind of tense, them having to pull Buckbeak off, the people showing up. Hermione helps him, like you wrote down, and they do eventually get him into the forest. The committee members come out, ready to kill old Beaky, and then, oh no, where'd he go? He's gone. Hagrid is so happy about this, bless his little beak.
Bless his...
Dumbledore is really funny in this moment.
Well, okay, so this is another thing to talk about, too, is at what point do you think Dumbledore was, like, wizened to everything that was going on and like Harry and Hermione being sent back in time. Like, I always think about that. Like, did he know at this point? Because he kind of, it says that he was highly amused. Yeah. And so I don't know, like, when did he know? And in the movie, he's like, oh, guys, look over there. And he does the same thing here, too. I
think he probably knew, at least from the moment they walked out, but maybe even earlier. And what makes me say that is I feel like I've read somewhere, even from JK, that Dumbledore is in the habit of casting hominem revelio quite often. And that's how he was able to tell that Harry and Ron were in the cabin in book 2 under the
yeah. Which is interesting because is that ever mentioned in the books? Because I know, like, in Hogwarts Legacy, you use it, like,
I don't, lot, but... I'm not sure. I think it is.
Okay.
I think it is. But yeah, so I feel like I've read that he does that. So I think he was wise into it. But we do learn later, you know, some people have this theory that Dumbledore is this omnipotent dude, but he's definitely not.
Yeah.
Because he does say, like, I didn't know that they were turning into Animagi.
Yeah, he's like, that's pretty impressive. You guys did that without me knowing it, too.
I think he's just, like, not easily shaken. He's very much roll with the punches, like, crazy. What now? So anyway, and my last note was McNair is rude. Because again, that's somebody else's fence, my guy. What are you doing? So they go back in the hut. Harry and Hermione move along the forest. They make their way to the Whomping Willow, and they watch Sirius. They watch Sirius and the Willow mess them up. I love Harry's commentary on it, like, ooh, that really doesn't look good. Oh, we just got whacked.
Yeah, and then I like to, like, literarily, when after she mentions the Whomping Willow the first time, Willow is capitalized each time she mentions it the next, because that's cool. Just like its proper name. The Willow almost got them. So I like that. I just thought that was funny.
But so everybody goes down in there, and they have to just wait outside. They see the minister's crew walk by, which seems like, I feel like Dumbledore just hates being in that squad right now, because it's another old dude, Fudge, and a McNair.
But who, I mean, we'll save that for the restricted section. Yeah.
They see Lupin, and at one point Harry wants to go out, and he's about to do it, but then the Hagrid moment happens, and Hermione's like, hey, you almost got caught. Hagrid would have seen you. Who knows what could have happened? Well, again, Hagrid's drunk.
I know, Hagrid's drunk.
So he might not have seen Harry.
He might have been like, Harry, what are you doing here?
This isn't me. Okay. Just keeps walking. I wonder, like, I feel my gut reaction, you know, is not necessarily a parent yet, but my gut reaction when I read something like this is like, drunk adults in a kid's book? And I'm wondering, is that me being silly, or is that like the British people, like, perhaps Brits just enjoy their...
I would say it's a little different because you grew up in a Christian family. I did not. Mm-hmm. So that was, like, actually a common experience. Oh. I would say. So I don't... like, again, I don't know. Like, me as a child, I'm like, oh, yeah, that guy over there is drunk. We had, like... I'd, like, be like, oh, I'm 9 years old at the pool. That lady is so drunk off her mind. Like,
crazy.
Yeah.
I remember... I had a friend who, he was in my truck with me. I'm 16 years old driving around, and he's in my truck, and he pulls out a cigarette. And I was like, the frick you doing? Like, this is my truck. Why are you smoking in my truck? Yeah. But it looked like a cigarette I had never seen before. It was very different. And I was like, is that a cigarette? And he goes, yeah. And then later I found out it was pot. Like, it was a doobie rolled up. And I was like, that's an interesting looking cigarette. So anyway, Hagrid, little tipsy man, just goes on off. They see Snape, and Harry's still trying to change the past, but mean old Hermione won't let him. They wait some more. They have the Patronus conversation, because, you know, Hermione says... And I love the Harry hype here of, like, apparently only a super powerful, awesome wizard could have conjured that epic, super cool Patronus. Who do you think it was? And I hate Hermione's reaction to Harry, because you hear Harry's inner monologue, and I feel like even the way Harry presents it, he's like, I know this isn't what it is.
Right.
This is just what it looks like. And, you know, so he says, I think, like, it looked like I thought I saw my dad.
Yeah. He presents it very tactfully, less so in the movie. But to Hermione's reaction is like, but he's dead. Harry's like, duh.
Yeah, I know.
That.
I love it so much. Really just, like, your dad's, like, super dead. Like, I don't think it could have been him. But Harry admits it's crazy. And I do like his thought, though, that, hey, Pettigrew showed up when everybody thought he was dead. Maybe all the Marauders were here last night.
Yeah.
After a little more than an hour of waiting, their past squad shows up again, and they can only watch as everything goes exactly as it did before. So I wrote, I enjoyed Hermione's rat comment. Oh, yeah, because Harry says, I'm going to go find Pettigrew. And she goes, you really think you can find a rat in the dark?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. At one point, Harry says, okay, we really need to move now. She's like, bruh, how many times do I have to tell you? We can't, like, be seen and do all this. And he goes, it's because the wolf's coming right for us. And so they boogie on out of there. She's like, oh, shoot, bet. And she unties Buckbeak, and they sprint over to Hagrid's cabin. And they hide in there. And they're greeted by good boy Fang. You know, Fang says, hi, y'all. Barking at him. Hermione has to calm him down. I love Buckbeak settling down for a nap, you know, gets in front of the fireplace.
And he's like, finally, I got back to Hagrid's place. I've been, like, that's where he was the whole time, because, you know, he was sentenced for death, and Hagrid's like, my poor pet, and was keeping him. So he's like, I'm
he
back
became
to
a house hippogriff.
Yeah.
Harry says, okay, we all good in here. Or no, Harry says, okay, we all good in here? All right. I'm just going to go outside and mess with some stuff. Hermione says, what? He goes, nothing, not mess with anything, just watching, that's all.
Yeah, I'm like, Hermione buying that little bit of, I'm not going to leave, I'm just going to keep watch.
And this is where I wrote down JB staircase. Because I was thinking of your son, like one of those moments, I won't do it.
Looks back, smiles.
And then we get our famous Expecto Patronum scene, because Harry goes out to the lake. He sees all the Dementor boys going to give him a kiss, and he goes, any second now, we're going to get saved. And then it dawns on him, oh, shoot, I got to save myself.
And this is the only scene I feel like the movie doesn't do it justice.
Really?
Yeah, because the movie doesn't really give you see his stag once, and then other than that, it's just like a light and lights dancing around. And even I love, it talks about how the stag, after chasing all of the Dementors away, it turns back to Harry and bows to him, and that's not in the movie.
I think I 50% agree with you. And I would say I love the movie's version of the first half of it.
Yes.
Him running up to cast the spell.
Yeah, and
but everything after.
I love the movie's version of, because they interfere a lot more with things in the movie. And the book, mine's like, sit still, be quiet, and they do that. In the movie, they definitely don't do that. And so I like that part of the movie better, actually, because it's more exciting. But the whole, like, the stag prancing around and then coming back to bow to Harry, and like, the movies always do this, is they mostly just show the Patronus's lights. They don't often show the corporeal forms. They do rarely, but not consistently.
Yeah, I wonder if it was like a price thing, because I know, like, with CGI that's super expensive, and especially back then. So I wonder if it would, like, the budget wise.
Yeah, I don't know, because they're still doing it with the light. They're still adding the lights, so how much harder would it have been to, like, make it look like an animal?
I do like when the Patronus is going out, like the multiple spheres hitting the Dementors in the movie. I enjoy that one, but I do agree. That would have been cool to see the interaction with the Patronus and all that. One of my notes here is that Jim Dale saying it is not nearly as iconic, because I was listening to the Jim Dale audio book version, and he does a lot of great stuff, a lot of great work. But I think, too, he sticks pretty close to it. And so when something's in all caps or extended, you know, he'll extend it with his voice. But it's just said, like, is it all caps in the book?
It is, yes.
So it's all caps, but it's not like Patronum. It's just Expecto Patronum. And so it's this epic moment. I'm expecting that. But like how he says it, how he says it in the book, he just gets up. And for some reason, Harry's, like, Irish. Every time anybody says Expecto Patronum, it sounds Irish. And it just goes, He just goes, expecto patronum. And that's it. And he says it a lot like that, too. I was like, that was it? And
Yeah.
He just keeps going.
That's funny. Yeah, in the movie, he like Daniel Radcliffe does it like very dramatic.
Kills
it's good.
it.
Yeah.
Kills it. So anyway, oh, and the prongs realization is really cool.
Yes.
When he comes back and Harry goes like, prongs.
Yeah.
I get it. And I love that. All of a sudden, Hermione shows up and is like, bro, we talked about this. What did you do? He says, I just saved all of our lives is what I did. And he explains that he's the super powerful, awesome wizard that saved everybody.
Me.
It was me all along.
Me.
Yeah. So I do, it does goes to show, I hope my listeners don't get too upset with how much I mentioned the audiobook stuff, but like it does show how much the voice acting can represent or paint your image of it. Because if I just read it myself in my head, the way I kind of conjured it up when Harry reveals that it was him, you know, I pictured somewhat of like him excited, like it was me, I did that. But in the audiobook, he's very reserved. He goes, because she goes, what did you just do? And he goes, I just saved all our lives. Like it's kind of like shell-shocked the way he says it. And I like that a lot. And it seems more fitting with Harry's character.
That is interesting. And it doesn't really get a dialogue tag. It just said Harry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny too, because you talk about the audiobook so much, but I'm very much a kid that like, I read it myself and I had all the voices in my head and all of the imaginations, and like I would see all the scenes even before the movies came out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's funny to me to go and listen to the audiobooks and be like, that's not how I said it. Like,
yeah, definitely like coats certain character. Like I think of one person who's affected probably the most is your interpretation of Ron, based on how Jim Dale will deliver a line versus how you picture it in your head. But anyway, so yeah, he says, it's me, I'm the super powerful wizard. So they watch Snape collect everybody with all the stretchers that he conjures up, goes back to the castle. Later they see who coming out to get the Dementors, Jesse? McNair, good old Walden. So they say, that's our cue, and off they fly to Flitwick's unguarded office for some reason.
I know. I'm like, security. Like,
it's Hogwarts. What do you expect?
We just locked this murderer in this classroom. Like,
he's not even chained. He doesn't even have... He's not even tied. We've seen them do that
They're
spell.
like, well, Snape says he binded and gagged him, so he may be... down,
only on the way up, but in the
you're right.
When they open up the door, he's like,
talks.
"Oh shoot, yeah."
He doesn't have a wand. They're like, he doesn't have a wand. It's useless.
But like that was another note I had was that wandless magic is a thing.
Yeah,
that
for
is
sure.
a thing.
I know. They're like, they couldn't even like get a troll to stand guard.
I know. We got 3 of them.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, then they save Sirius. Yay! Get him out of there. I love his jaw dropping when they show up.
Well, I love just the description of them riding up on Buckbeak, and then they stop. They're still going up and down in front of the window.
And it makes Harry's tap, even like made Harry's tap sharp on the window, like.
This was like her really imagining the scene in her head and trying to like explain it really well. So I love that.
Yeah. So my next note is I was sad about the quick goodbye. You know, they're having to rush things.
I know.
I do love the first thing, like once they get to the top of the tower, first thing he asks about is Ron. You know, because he's the one who broke Ron's leg. Yeah. And he's just like, hey, that kid, is he all right? He's all right? Okay, good.
Yeah.
But they keep telling him, shut up and go. You're a criminal. Get on out of here. And that's the end of the chapter. Yay! All right, Jesse, it's time for our favorite lines of chapter 21.
All right, I think, like, because I told you I have so many, so if I already mentioned it, I may just skip it.
I wrote down a bunch as well, but let's see. My first one, we'll do what we normally do, we hop back and forth.
Okay.
My first one is, again, a lot of the comments from the first interaction with Dumbledore, but my favorite one was, my memory is as good as it ever was, Severus, said Dumbledore quietly.
Yes.
I enjoyed that one of him just like, there's moments where, you know, people will say about like dogs that, especially when you have like the Dutch Shepherd breed that we do, that if you train them, even if you train them, eventually they try to, like, every once in a while they will test you to make sure
sure the rule's still the same.
Yeah. And so there's these moments in the book where Snape steps out of line. And I like how Dumbledore, not just Snape, but the other teachers, Dumbledore's always quick to put down that authority, like, but in a gentle manner.
Yeah.
You know, I think of the Christmas lunch/dinner. Have you listened to that episode,
yes,
by the way?
Yeah.
Where McGonagall and Trelawney are fighting back and forth. He's like, y'all need to cut this out. All right, not here. They're asking about Lupin, and he goes, put it to bed, not in front of the kids.
Yes. I think it's really cool, his dynamic, because it's like, though in the books he's so happy and jovial and easygoing, he's still like, I'm the most powerful wizard in this room. Like,
don't forget who Daddy is. Yeah. All right. What's one of yours?
Okay, so I already listened to it. I already mentioned this, so we'll skip over the first one. But when Dumbledore says, "It is your turn to listen, and I beg you will not interrupt me," and then they go to interrupt him like 3 times. But then my next one, Harry says, "But you believe us." And yes, I do, said Dumbledore quietly, but I have no power to make other men see the truth or to overrule the Minister of Magic. Harry stared up into the grave face and felt as though the ground beneath him were falling sharply away. He had grown used to the idea that Dumbledore could solve anything. He had expected Dumbledore to pull some amazing solution out of the air. But no, their last hope was gone.
We're the same. That's my favorite line as well, that whole paragraph.
It's so good because, like, these kids are like, you believe us? And Dumbledore's like, yes, but sometimes we just can't make others see the truth. And then it is, like, Harry having this realization of Dumbledore isn't omnipotent. He's not all-powerful. And it's just this, like, when you're a kid and you grow up and you realize your dad isn't the perfect hero you thought he was.
That's exactly what I thought, too. Yeah. Yeah, very good call out. I felt the exact same things. Moving on to my next favorite line. Oh, this is kind of silly. I have 2 silly ones right here back to back. And again, just because I thought they were funny, I'll forget one of them. I'll just say this one. Oh, no. How extraordinary, said Dumbledore. There was a note of amusement in his voice.
Yes,
and I like
love
him.
That one, too.
What's going on? And then soon after that one, Buckbeak started to strain against the rope, trying to get back to Hagrid. And he does that twice, too. And I just, it makes me think of my doggo. Of, like, if he hears me, he wants to come see me. Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah, I wrote down the how extraordinary line, too. That was a good one. But I'll jump back a little further. This one, to me, is really short, but it's like the perfect oxymoron in a sentence. And it says, the execution party had arrived. And I just think that's so funny. The execution party? And so I think that's a hilarious phrasing that I'm sure she did intentionally. And, like, I just think that's great writing.
Yeah, I like that. Another one of mine. I know it sounds crazy, said Harry flatly. He turned to look at Buckbeak, who was digging his beak into the ground, apparently searching for blank. Beep. No! The audience quizzes question, Jesse. I'm going to edit that out.
I thought you wanted me to answer it. Oops.
Bad, Jesse. But he wasn't really watching Buckbeak.
Yeah.
Oh, because you got tears in his eyes.
No.
Anyway, that's my other one. I have one last one, but you...
Yeah, so my next one is just skipping our... No, it's skipping back a little. But you already mentioned this, but we need to read it all. And Hagrid saying, gone, bless his little beak, he's gone. Must have pulled himself free, Beaky, you clever boy.
I love that. I love that so much. My last one for this chapter, when they get into Hagrid's hut, Harry was looking out of the window. It was much harder to see what was going on from here. Buckbeak seemed very happy to find himself back inside Hagrid's house. He lay down in front of the fire, folded his wings contentedly, and seemed ready for a good nap.
Yeah,
he's like, this gonna be nice. I love it. Love getting up, getting cozy, especially during our burr months. Burrs and colds this time around. Yeah. What's your next favorite line?
Oh, I'm done for this chapter.
Oh, you're done? Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on now to our transfigurations. Okay, Jesse, so I told you that I had not looked up or thought of them myself yet. So I think it'd be fun. And listeners, this is differences that that the movies made from the books. And so let's try to say some off the dome before I go to the all-knowing wiki.
Yes.
Although the wiki misses stuff a lot. It does. I think one thing that stuck out to me was Hagrid, when he notices that Buckbeak is gone. In the movie, he's concerned. He's like, Buckbeak? Like, where'd you get all... He's not happy.
I know, which I thought was so weird.
I think he's just, like, super concerned. And he doesn't want to... He doesn't want to appear happy in front of the execution party. That'd be the best reason I could think.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the book, he's like, oh, thank you. But in movie, what's going on?
Yeah.
So that's one difference.
I think the first difference I noticed is that Ron is asleep for the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, Ron doesn't wake up, so he's not like, what are you doing over there? What are you doing over here? And then he's not like, sorry, seeing as you can't walk. You know, you get that line in the movie. But I feel like it's better that he didn't have that FOMO episode.
Yeah, I didn't even say it. I think we skipped it right at the end of the chapter, but I forgot to mention how, like, them running back to the hospital wing, and this is another big difference when they get to the hospital wing, and I this is one of the ones I hate. At least I hate how it's portrayed. I know you're not a big Michael Gambon fan. That's right.
What?
Michael Gambon as Dumbledore.
Oh yes, yeah. I don't like him at all. I didn't even know his name.
Yeah, I do think he comes into it very strongly in movie 6. I like his movie 6 portrayal. But all that aside, in the book, because I didn't say it in the chapter coverage, they get there and they're like, we did, or no, actually, they don't even say it. He turns around, he's like, how'd it go? And they're like, we did it.
Did what? Yeah, I do love that part in the movie.
Well, but that's actually what I don't like in the movie.
Oh, really?
So in the book, they actually have a conversation. Dumbledore's like, good job, proud of y'all.
Yeah.
And then I also just thought too, like, how convenient, whenever that scene goes down for Dumbledore. And I thought this would be funny to tell you because I'm the spoiler king. I love spoilers, and I hate the stress of not knowing what happens. And so, not on Transfiguration here, just like to bounce back to chapter coverage, but when Dumbledore turns around, like, he gives the kids a mission, super important mission, and all he does is back out of a room, turn around, and go, did it work?
Yeah.
Like, that's so convenient. I love that for him. So on back to Transfiguration, in the movie, like you said, he just goes, did what?
But he does like, he says it like that, but then he goes, good night.
Yeah, that's a good touch.
So I thought that was like a good way to lighten
Yeah, that does help it.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it.
But yeah, otherwise, the other huge transfiguration is that Hermione's like, we mustn't do anything. We mustn't be seen. And in the movie, she's like, heck, let me throw a rock in this window. Let us call the werewolf over here. Hey, Lupin, come get us.
Yeah, they got to call out a few times, smash the jars. No, something we pointed out in that episode was that the jars smash because they break them themselves, like their current selves breaks them. They drop, like Hagrid drops one in the hut.
Yes.
But in the movie, like you said, they're throwing like what looks like snail shells or something. I never knew what they
rocks.
were.
Well, they're rocks, but they do look like snail shells.
They look like boulders or bricks.
Chocolate broken off with a hammer.
Let's see. Anything else that popped up?
They don't have the Lupin chase scene in the woods because Buckbeak saves them and Lupin comes after them, and none of that is in the book.
The other big one is that, I mean, we've kind of said these already, but so they don't travel through space.
Yes,
they stay in the hospital wing when
and
they
have to run down. And I do like that scene in the movie because they have to run out, and you see the back of the clock tower.
Yeah.
And then when they return, you return in through the clock face. So you have that like seamless exit and then entrance back in.
We don't get all these Snape and Fudge interactions.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
Sirius is in the topmost cell of what he says the Dark Tower.
Oh yeah, they don't say
what?
West Tower.
No,
right.
And he's not in Flitwick's classroom. He's like in an actual, and you get Bombarda.
Yeah, Bombarda, and in the book it's Alohomora, which is less violent.
I do love Hermione bossing out in that
that's
moment, though.
like I said earlier.
Some of my favorite Hermione moments.
I really pretty much like every change the movie made.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's some like
and the goodbye.
Yeah, the conversations between Dumbledore. I'm sad that gets left out, but all of the like action that they add in Bombarda, and then the scene where he gets to talk to Sirius and say goodbye in the movie, but in the book that they are just like go leave, get out of here.
Yeah, and then call ahead to a later chapter, some of Dumbledore's lines are given to Sirius in the movie at this point.
Yeah.
But we'll say them next. The other thing to point out, so it actually says here on the wiki what those are. They're not, like, I guess it's a type of rock perhaps, but it's ammonite fossils.
Oh, that they throw through the window? Why are there ammonite fossils sitting on a pumpkin?
It's Hagrid's. Who knows what you're getting up to there. Let's see. And then there's the dead ferrets, like was pointed out.
Yeah, they lure Buckbeak with ferrets. Which they do. That is, earlier in the book, they mention that Hagrid comes into the Great Hall before he shows them Buckbeak, and he's got polecats swinging from him.
Yeah.
So, and I looked that up, and a polecat is just kind of like an animal, like a ferret.
The last one to point out is that when Harry saves them in the movie, like when he casts the big Patronus, so aside from the big differences we already point out, Hermione is with him in the movie when that happens.
Which I think makes more sense because...
Well, the layout...
leaving him.
Yeah, the layout is very different. So, like, in the book, what I picture is, like, everything is kind of very close to the Great Lake, that's mentioned. But in the movie, like in Hagrid's hut, close to the lake as well. But in the movie, this lake seems like not the Great Lake. It's just a random lake in a forest.
Right. That they do make it seem like it's tucked into it's a lake in the Forbidden Forest. And then another thing that in the movie, Harry wakes up and the first thing he says is, "I saw my dad."
Yeah.
So he starts with that, and then they have that only a really powerful wizard conversation in the hospital wing.
Me. And that's all our transfigurations. Yay! Moving on now to our golden snitches, which are a little behind the scenes, lore, tids and bits, stuff like that. I have two, and one of them, it's really 1.5 because, never mind, I already said this one in a past episode. Moving on to our other, and the last one because we don't have that many for this chapter, surprisingly. I mean, it's the end of the book. You don't get that many. Yeah. But the Time Turner. And good news, listeners, there's a frick ton about the Time Turner.
Yeah.
So a Time Turner was a magical device used for time travel. It was a special timepiece which resembled an hourglass on a necklace. The British Ministry of Magic encased an hour reversal charm in the Turners they created for additional stability. What's an hour reversal charm? Let me click on that. The hour reversal charm was a charm that could be used to reverse time by 1 hour every time the hourglass was revolved. Okay. I mean, we kind of figured that out, but it's nice to know.
Yeah.
Does it say who invented it? No, it doesn't. Shame.
That's interesting that they have, like, the logic of that, because I hate this, and I know it's not canon in my mind, but the cursed child and how they go back, like, years and years and years.
And that's talked about.
Yeah.
That's talked about.
Because it's, like, a special one, and instead of hours, it's, like, a year.
Oh, okay.
Or whatever. I think, I don't know, I'm
going to go see it next year.
Really?
Because we should go see it. It's going to be in Atlanta in, like, February.
Part of me would love that, and then part of me, like, hates the story.
So what I've heard from almost everybody who has seen it, they say, like, the script play, the book, the script.
Yeah.
It's not fun to read. But watching the play itself, the effects that they do, the acting, all that stuff.
And that's kind of what I feel like would be magical. Like, regardless of what I think about how ridiculous the plot is.
Let's go in thinking it's fanfic. It's fanfic.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. It is kind of like...
And then we could do an episode on it.
That would be fun. Maybe we should do that. That would be a good double date.
That's all I'm asking for Christmas now. But anyway, however, they can only stay in the past for 5 hours at a time without the possibility of serious harm to the traveler or to time itself. That's spoiler for other things. I guess, however, by 2020... Ooh. Not a good year. 2 other true kind of time turners were created. The prototype only let the time traveler stay in the past for 5 minutes, while the improved model let them stay in the past for as long as they wanted and return to the future when they wanted.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's interesting to think, too, that in this time turner, you can't really return to the future other than just the times meeting up again. So it would be really awful if you went back, like, pretty far, and then you just had to, like, wait 3 days or whatever.
Yeah. Let's see. The Ministry had a limited quantity, which were not easily replaceable. They have like a stockpile in one of the rooms there. We can't say too much, but there is.
Yes.
And you have a bunch. I'll read this part. Time-related magic was unstable, and serious breaches of the laws of time resulted in catastrophic events. According to Professor Saul Croker, just as the human mind cannot comprehend time, so it cannot comprehend the damage that will ensue if we presume to tamper with its laws. Possible scenarios include a wizard or witch killing their past or future selves by mistake, or altering one's life's path in such a drastic fashion that it could result in temporal anomalies such as unbirths, making it imperative for users to practice discretion and operate in secret, lest they encounter their past selves and do irreparable harm. Now, before I continue,
she totally took that from Back to the Future.
What I like the movie's version of time travel better than this, because this is like talking about the only, I think, neat way to do time travel is a closed loop time travel where like it was always going to be that. And so by them interacting and being the ones that like broke the jars or called Lupin, that showed that always was what happened.
Yes. And
so it didn't actually change anything.
Well, and I love that because it is like even in the past, it's like their future, like you said, a closed loop, their future selves were still affecting it. So it's like it was always supposed to be, you know? And it makes me think, too, that like when Dumbledore made the suggestion in the movie, he's like, oh, I already know that they did this, so it's okay for me to suggest this.
While not potentially dangerous as skipping 5 centuries, even the reuse of a single hour could still have dramatic consequences, and the Ministry of Magic enforced the strictest guarantees if it permitted the use of these rare and powerful objects. Time Turner possession was hedged around with literally hundreds of laws, and the most stringent laws and penalties were in place to prevent their misuse. It would have surprised most of the magical community to know that Time Turners were generally only used to solve the most trivial problems of time management, and never for greater or more important purposes.
Okay, that's interesting because I did wonder, I'm like, with all of the secrecy and laws about the Time Turners, I was like, the Ministry really allowed a 13-year-old girl to use it to get to a couple extra classes. Like, that's what the use of these things are really for, is to just take some extra electives.
So anyway, that's all our golden snitches for this chapter, and that moves us on to the final chapter of the book. Yay! Chapter 22, Owl Post Again. Get it? Because isn't that the name of the first chapter, right? That's the name of the first chapter?
Is it? Yeah, it is. It is.
Yay!
Chapter the Owl Post.
Wow, how did she do that? Chapter 22, Owl Post Again. So Hermione says, Harry, what does it say? Oh, so this was, I jumped the gun. This is, the whole interaction with Dumbledore is here.
What do you mean?
Oh, no, wait. I'm just here.
When they get back, we have exactly 10 minutes to get back to.
So I did jump the gun. I thought this was at the end of last chapter. So like I said, listeners, Hermione's like, Harry, we gotta go. And I wrote down, we gotta make like a chocolate ice cream cone and dip. And off they skirt. They hide when Fudge and Snape pass by. They say some funny things, like, gee, hope Dumbledore doesn't do what he usually does and mess everything up for us. They also hide from Peeves at one point, and finally, they make it to the hospital wing, which is the scene I already explained, so we'll kind of move by that. I thought that was at the end of last chapter. But anyway, Dumbledore lets them in. Madame Pomfrey comes in, gives them some chalky, and they're on their which number chalky?
Well, in this one, they're on their 4th.
Their 4th! Yeah. Eventually...
They do have their 5th at the end, though.
Oh, yeah. Eventually, they hear it, the wrathful yells of Snape. And he comes barging back in the hospital wing. I wrote, again, I love Dumbledore here. He's just like looking, I think it says amused again or unbothered, whatever. Yeah,
I think one of the lines, and this is one of my favorite lines, but it's like, Dumbledore was the only one that was calm.
So, yeah, love Dumbledore. Snape is madly accusing Harry, just like shouting it at the top of his lungs, getting all upset.
Lots of all caps on this page.
Lots of all caps. JK loves her all caps. Even Fudge is like, bruh, what's wrong with you? Control yourself, man. Dumbledore basically tells Snape, like, tough luck, buddy. maybe next time, like, sorry. And Snape storms on out of there, and Fudge, he's a little bummed too, because he's like, oh, gee, I guess I can't brag about.
He's like, this is a PR nightmare.
I know. He's used to that. Can't brag about this to the prophet now. Oh, well, time to leave. And Dumbledore says, hey, wait. You're taking those Dementors, right? You're taking them no good Dementors with you, right? And Fudge says, oh, yeah. Can't believe they'd attack a kid. Like, that's crazy. And I remember when he said that, I was like, really? You couldn't believe that this creature of nightmare could do such a thing?
And then good man Fudge, who does he suggest takes the Dementor's place, Barry?
A dragon!
And though, like...
Well done, dragon!
The funny line of, like, Hagrid would love that.
And he gives him a wink to her
Yeah, smile. But, like, can you imagine... Okay, is a dragon at the front of Hogwarts better? Come on, really, Fudge?
Heck yeah.
Really?
Especially if it's Norberta.
Yeah.
Spoiler for next book. But anyway, Snape storms out, Fudge bummed, all that, taking it aboard. Everyone leaves, and in a silly, like, moment, Ron wakes up, and asks, what's going on? And Harry says, you tell him, Hermione, I'm eating chocolate. And you get, like, I just picture in my head, they all laugh, and the screen turns to black. It's like the end of a Pokemon episode. The next day, they're chilling out by the lake, they get to Smith, and they go out there, they watch the squid messing around on top of the lake.
Just the squid waving lazily.
He's just taking a soak, enjoying himself. While most of the other students are off at Hogsmeade, they're just chilling by the lake. Hagrid comes up and says, hey, y'all want some hot goss? You're like, what's going on? And then he lets them know that Buckbeak's been set free. No way, that's crazy. I'm sure you like that line.
I know. I can only imagine, like, all of them being like, look surprised, look surprised.
You get, he also lets them know about Lupin, like, oh yeah, and that poor Lupin, crazy what happened about him, right? They're like, what do you mean? What's going on with Lupin?
Yeah.
He says, oh, you didn't hear? Yeah, Snape let slip. He's a werewolf, told everybody, and so, well, of course, he's got to resign after that. Harry's like, what? And so off he goes to see Lupin. But it's a sad moment when he gets to Lupin's office, and Lupin basically confirms the rumors, the goss, and he's like, I gotta go, because people be racist, but also concerned for child safety. It's a fine line to walk.
And he's like, I can kind of see what they're saying, because I missed my potion one night, and I almost attacked some children. Yeah,
so it's one of those moments, and I was going to ask you, like, if you agreed with him resigning, and I think I do, in that.
Yeah, well, like, from an adult perspective, like, because I do think it is the right thing, because he was almost put in a, and now I think there were extenuating circumstances, but it was a dangerous situation, and
I don't think Snape should have told.
No, even like Lupin is so generous too, because he could, like, if I were Lupin, I would be like, dude, that guy hates me. I can't believe he did this. But he says Snape accidentally let slip. Like, it wasn't accidentally. Like, he's being so gracious to Snape. And I do think...
And I love that about him, though. I love that. It's one of my favorite things of, just assuming the best... Or at the very least, what he's doing is not bad-talking another teacher in front of Harry.
Right. And which I agree with that. Like, I don't care what you think about, like, teachers or colleagues, but, like, you don't talk bad about them in front of students.
Yeah, Lupin basically confirms he's got to go. And I do like that even in this really sad moment for Lupin, he's still putting a lot of the attention on Harry. He's hyping Harry up, like, tell me about your Patronus. Heard it was pretty sick.
Yeah.
And Harry's all like, oh, only a really powerful wizard could have got it out.
And this was almost a potential Quizzitch question for you. But then I was like, oh, he probably knows this because it's a spoiler in the 5th book. Or no, not in the 5th book, in the sub. But what creature was in Lupin's office by the door? It's Tank.
Yeah, the Grindylow.
Yeah.
Grindylow. I was thinking of this 7th movie.
Yes, that's the 7th is the question. Yeah.
So Harry asks about his he asks about Harry's Patronus, and then we also get the James confirmation that Harry's suspicions were correct. And I love, like, the way Lupin talks about it. Of like, seen him turn into a stag many times. It's a really cool thing for Harry to get to hear about his dad. He gives the cloak back. He goes, by the way, this is your only family heirloom. Why do you keep losing this?
Right.
Gives it back to him.
I think it's so funny. Dumbledore comes in the room and he stuffs it in his pocket. The number of times they've mentioned him stuffing this entire cloak into his pocket. I'm like, how big is this?
Well, I don't think it's the cloak. I think it's the map that he's hiding in that moment.
No, he stuffed the map and the invisibility cloak into his pocket. Yeah. So he stuffs both. Yeah. This entire cloak.
He's in wizard robes. I'm sure there's a big old one.
It's the 80s. He's wearing those huge cargo pants, right?
But and so that was my other note was I love the hesitation with the map because it says like Lupin pauses for a second before he gives it back. Like, here you go. He gives the map. And then I also
he says, oh no, actually no, I'll save that because that's one of my favorite lines.
And I do enjoy the moment where Harry, because it says Harry grins and he goes, "You said you guys would have found it funny if I got outside." And Lupin's like, "Yeah, it would have been funny." Like, I appreciate like just the boyhood kind of like, yeah, it would have been really cool to mess with you. Like we would have really enjoyed that. But also the very warm note of, and I think James would have been very upset if his son never found any of the secret passages.
I know that. I love that line. That was one of my favorite lines.
Oh, did I spoil it?
No, it's okay. We'll just cover it now.
Yeah.
But he says, I have no hesitation. So he hesitates about giving the Marauders map out. But he says, I have no hesitation in saying that James would have been highly disappointed if his son had never found any of the secret passages out of the castle.
No. Dumbledore comes in and tells Remus that his ride is here, your carriage waiting at the gates. And Dumbledore and Remus shake hands, and off Remus goes. So tan. And now it's time for our end of the year discussion with Dumbledore. Yay! They talk about Trelawney and all her predictions. Dumbledore does kind of throw some shade, and Harry's like,
yeah.
I think she had a real prediction. He goes, "That's a real one? That's crazy. That means 2 now." But even before that, where he goes, I had a weird interaction with Trelawney, and Dumbledore goes, "Weirder than normal?"
Yeah, that was such a funny comment. Yeah, and then he's like, I should offer her a pay raise.
He's so silly. They talk about Trelawney, all her predictions. It's funny, though, that they kind of skirt over it because he goes, "I think that raised her number up to 2." And Harry doesn't even ask.
Yeah, what was the first?
So just fun throwing that in there. And I really enjoy the line of, like, "I think prongs rode again."
Yeah,
tonight.
I know. That was so sweet. I love that whole, he's like, I'll do my favorite lines later, but he was like, "But Harry, you did see your father. Like, that was your father and you, And that was really sweet.
And then he also brings up the Pettigrew connection from now on, that there's been a bond formed between them.
I know. I can't wait to talk about that in the restricted section, but that is so interesting, and I love his line for that, too.
Say it for favorite lines or say it here?
I can say it here.
Yeah.
But Harry's like, "I don't want to bond with Pettigrew. He betrayed my parents." And Dumbledore says, "This is magic at its deepest, its most impenetrable, Harry. But trust me, the time may come when you will be very glad that you saved Pettigrew's life." Harry couldn't imagine when that would be. And wink, wink. Dumbledore looked as though he knew what Harry was thinking. And then I like this too, to throw this in. "I knew your father very well, both at Hogwarts and later, Harry," he said gently. "He would have saved Pettigrew too, I am sure of it."
No.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I like the most about that line, it seems to me that the things that Dumbledore says are the deepest and most amazing kinds of magic are Muggle world stuff. So, he talks about how music, a magic beyond all that we do here, words are most inexhaustible source of magic, love, the most powerful magic, and then, saving somebody's life, forming a connection, like another power. So I like that these are like real
It's like
things.
The things they share in humanity with non-magic people, but he's like, these things that are the strongest parts of our humanity are the most magical.
Yeah. So we kind of get yada-yada'd, through the last few school days. We get a note that both Malfoy and Percy are upset. Malfoy because Buckbeak didn't get killed, and Percy because Sirius got away, and he's like, this just looks bad on the Ministry.
Well, I think it's funny, too, because Malfoy, it says, is upset because he and his father feel like the gamekeeper got one over on them.
They always get one over on him, so... I also wrote down Snape wants to kill Harry. Talks about that muscle in his mouth that twitches anytime Harry walks by, or his fingers flexing like he wants to... what's funny? So it says his fingers flexing like he wants to kill him. But what I picture is the scene in... what's the movie that all the girls like? The old-timey one, not Jane Eyre.
Oh, Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, your wife's favorite movie.
Well, I don't know if that's her favorite movie. I think Jane Eyre might. I don't know.
Well, I know that's what we did for her Bachelorette.
Yeah,
we watched Jane Eyre and had tea. And
but yeah,
Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah. But when his hand flexes in that movie,
it's a whole meme. Too.
Yeah, every time I saw like a video, it was a meme of, or I guess a reel, but it was one of those outdoor movie concert things that they do, and it's that scene, and all the girls in the audience lose it when he does it, and the hand pulses. So that's Snape. Every time he walks by Harry, he just...
But it's not a very loving hand.
It's not very loving. So finally... Oh, and also Gryffindors win the House Cup. Yay! And Harry did pass potions. I feel like Dumbledore had a hand in that.
Yeah, and this is their first Quidditch win, too, right? First
time they win the Quidditch Cup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Finally, and you.
I do.
That was funny. So listeners on the Retold Podcast Instagram, go follow that, please. The other day I posted a picture of it, and it was like I had said that something like watch Harry win, or like the Gryffindor team finally win the Quidditch World Cup. And Jessie comments and goes, "Oh, I didn't know that Gryffindor was competing as a country in the Quidditch." I was like, grr. I think my comment back was, "This is so embarrassing."
Yeah, you were like, "This is the height of embarrassment."
So finally, they're taking the train ride home. Hermione, she's dropped Muggle studies now, even though she bossed out on the final. She does tell Ron, like, "Hey, you're over here saying telephone. Maybe you should."
I know, I love that. Mm-hmm. Telephone, Ronald.
Does he say telephone or felly tone?
He says felly tone. Which actually, that was almost another Quidditch question for you. What did Ron call the telephone?
So the Quidditch World Cup, we get that foreshadowed. Ron's like, "Hey, maybe we should hit that up."
Yes. And I'm always just so impressed, like, author to author, the forethought and how seamlessly the books lead into each other, because she planned a whole plot across 7 books and like knew everything that was coming and like all the evidence and the hints to drop, and I'm like, I can only aspire to be that amazing.
And you will be.
One day, maybe.
At one point we get a letter from Sirius, and I love the scene where the little owl shows up and drops it off.
It's so cute. I just love picturing that in my head.
Yeah, because it talks about, like, I wanted to read that part.
Yes. It's really cute. And also Ron offering it to Crookshanks.
Yeah. So the owl shows up, and this was the point I had to read. So Harry reaches out the window and catches it. It felt like a very fluffy snitch. He brought it carefully inside. The owl dropped its letter onto Harry's seat and began zooming around their compartment, apparently very pleased with itself for accomplishing its task. Hedwig clicked her beak with a sort of dignified disapproval. Crookshanks sat up in his seat, following the owl with his great yellow eyes. Ron, noticing this, snatched the owl safely out of harm's way. Like, there's so many funny things that happen in that. So one, it feeling like a fluffy snitch, the owl being pleased with itself, going crazy,
and Hedwig being like
Hedwig has strong McGonagall vibes in that.
She does. I really feel like Hedwig's personality is very much like McGonagall.
Yeah. And then the Crookshanks and watching, and then finally Ron being the one to save it. But like you said, Ron. Well, I'll get to that point in a second, but we read the letter, and Sirius explains some things to us. Tells us about the firebolt and how somehow he managed. It was okay. The workers at Gringotts thought it was just fine for a cat to come in. Was it a cat?
Yeah, the cat came in with a letter to say, use the gold from a convicted murderer's bank account to buy this gift and ship it to a child.
In Harry's name. Did he say he used Crookshanks? Yeah, it's like...
Yeah.
Okay, correction. Crookshanks didn't go into Gringotts. Crookshanks took the order to the Owl office. But even still, getting that letter is like, I'd be there like, who's withdrawing from the Black Vault?
Yeah, I've got to think, like, what was the authorization required for... So it was in Harry's name to withdraw gold from Sirius Black convicted murderer's bank account.
I think the only difference, like the only possible way I can see this working is if it's like what Grip Hook says at one point later, like, we don't care about your wizard wars. And so for a person to show, like, if this isn't a bank run by wizards, it's run by goblins. So maybe the goblins see it and they're like,
I get that, but the security of, like, when they have to go to the bank and prove their identity and, like, present their wands and whatever and the keys to get into their bank. So I just have trouble understanding how a letter...
Well, Sirius listed his first job, the name of his hometown,
Yeah,
his mother's maiden name.
He had the street he grew up on as a child.
He had all that figured out and all that done. They were like, we don't have any more things to get through. It's crazy. And so, and we also get a note about Magnolia Crescent because he goes, by the way, sorry for spooking you. Didn't mean to. We also get the permission slip.
Yeah, I think that's so sweet, too, because as soon as Sirius broke out from Azkaban, the first thing he wanted to do before he went on his revenge spree was he wanted to see Harry.
Yeah.
He wanted to see how he was doing. And
before I go do my murder, let me go check in on my godson. Are you a godparent at all?
I'm not.
No. Yeah,
that's really only a Catholic thing, too.
Is it?
Yeah, like, do you know many Protestants that assign God, like, we haven't assigned a godparent for our son? I
would say, I think it's
I'm in a will for someone's child.
It's almost like
that counts.
From my experience, from what I've heard talking to people, is that yes, Catholics like tend to do it like automatically, but it's not uncommon outside of it. It is like super common in Catholicism, though.
Yeah.
So like my older sister, I designated her and asked her to be my impending daughter's godparent. So.
Oh, that's sweet. So is there anything official, like, because like I haven't been asked to be a godparent, but like I have been asked, like, if anything were to happen to us, would you take care of our children? And their will, they said that we would watch their children.
There probably is some documents I need to sign. Need to take care of. My whole family knows that my older sister is the designated person.
Okay.
But outside of that, I don't know. I should probably Google that.
You're like, here's a certificate of godparentness.
Listen, he wrote down his mother's maiden name, the street name. So, you know, Hagrid. Sirius apologized to Harry for that, and then we get the permission slip, the note, and that made Harry smile. Oh, I loved all that. I want to say that for my favorite lines.
I know. Yeah.
And then
that'll
Ron...
be good enough for Dumbledore.
Yeah. And then Ron the permission slip, just to explain, listeners, it's, if you didn't know, it's the permission slip that Harry gets to go to Hogsmeade now because Sirius says, Harry's godfather, granted permission. And then Ron gets the owl. I love the little PS at the end. It makes me think of movie 4 because I feel like the only letters that have been read aloud in the series, in the movies, that include a PS are Sirius letters. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, PS, the bird bites in the movie, but then PS here, he can have the bird. Oh, I love that.
And it's he's like, sorry I broke your leg. Sorry you don't have a pet because of me. Here's this owl.
Yeah. But anyway, finishing up the chapter, they arrive at King's Cross. To call it the moment you mentioned.
Yes. Oh, I love this. And Ron says... Ron holds the owl out to Crookshanks. He says, what do you reckon? Ron asked the cat. Definitely an owl. Crookshanks purred. That's good enough for me.
Love that. And they all play Exploding Snap and enjoy the ride home. Harry looks at the letter a bunch. They arrive at King's Cross Station and say their goodbyes to each other. Harry gets a hug from Molly. And, he messes with the Dursleys some because... he tells them, like, I got a note from my convicted, godfather, like, this my murderer godfather. Again, I love the way Jim Dale says it. So the way, I'll try to, imitate him a bit, but he goes, when he says he had a godfather, Uncle Vernon says, "Godfather? Like, you haven't got a godfather." And the way Jim Dale does it's so funny. Like, "Yes, I have. He was my mom and dad's best friend. He's a convicted murderer, but he's broken out of wizard prison and he's on the run. He likes to keep in touch with me, though. Keep up with my news. Check if I'm happy."
That's funny. That's so different than how I did it in my head.
And then, yay, Harry thinks it's going to be a really good, much better summer than he thought it would be. And that's the end of the chapter. Yay!
I know. I just think back to when you did your first chapter with Bailey and the line she loved about Miss Petunia being like, Harry knew that she would love to be the one to call the hotline.
Yeah.
And now Harry's like, hey, remember that guy? That's my godfather.
That's him, in case she was wondering. Well, hit me with your first favorite line, Jessie.
Okay. All right. We said a lot.
We did say a lot of them, so sometimes I skip it nowadays
I know.
if I say too many of them.
Well, okay. I'll read this one because I mentioned it, but I don't think we read it. I gotta go find it.
I'll go ahead and say mine here.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
When Snape leaves the hospital wing, and Fudge, says, "The fellow seems quite unbalanced. Watch out for him if I were you, Dumbledore." And Dumbledore says, "Oh, he's not unbalanced," said Dumbledore quietly. "He's just suffered a severe disappointment."
Yes, that was a good one. Okay, mine. Fudge, Snape, and Dumbledore came striding into the ward. Dumbledore alone looked calm. Indeed, he looked as though he was quite enjoying himself. Fudge appeared angry, but Snape was beside himself. and I just thought that was such a funny picture.
This is going to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
Another one of my favorite lines. Let's see. Again, Dumbledore saying, "Who'd have thought? That brings her total of real predictions up to 2. I should offer her a raise." And then the next one, right after that, I'll say it is, "It does not," said Dumbledore quietly, talking about that. Sorry, Harry says, "That makes it my fault if Voldemort comes back." And Dumbledore says, "It does not. Hasn't your experience with the Time Turner taught you anything, Harry? The consequences of our actions are always so complicated, so diverse, that predicting the future is a very difficult business indeed." And then he says some stuff about Trelawney. But what I liked about that a lot is that, I have discussions and debates a lot about maybe controversial topics or what have you. And people often try to ascribe blame to something. It's this thing's fault if this thing didn't happen or if this person didn't do this. And I often, one of the things that I consider is this, of there's really so much that went into it. It wasn't just that. You can't just say only this was the reason. Or if you're just upset about this, then you need to be upset about some other things too. So I enjoyed him saying they're so complex. There's so many layers.
There's so many more things at play and circumstances than we even know. Mm-hmm. I mentioned this, but I'll read it real quick. The Fudge is talking. "Never dreamed they'd attempt to administer the kiss on an innocent boy, completely out of control. No, I'll have them packed off back to Azkaban tonight. Perhaps we should think about dragons at the school entrance."
Yeah.
Hagrid would like that, said Dumbledore with a swift smile at Harry and Hermione. And I think that's funny, too, because that's totally a callback to the first book. And all of these people were present for Hagrid and Norbert and, under the cloak in the cabin. So I thought that was funny.
I also again, this line's given to Sirius in the movie, but Harry says, "It was stupid thinking it was him," he muttered. "I mean, I knew he was dead." And Dumbledore, "You think the dead we have loved ever truly leave us? You think that we don't recall them more clearly than ever in times of great trouble? Your father is alive in you, Harry, and shows himself most plainly when you have need of him." Oh, I love that.
I know, that was one of my favorites, too.
"Prongs rode again last night."
Yes, that was such a good line. Another one I have that I already read that was Lupin saying he has no hesitation in saying that James would be disappointed in Harry if he didn't break the rules. And then the one you just read, and then the next... literally my next 2 were ones you just read. And then, okay, so the next one that I have that you didn't read, that I already mentioned, is I love Ron at the end Harry, you've got to come and stay with us. I'll fix it up with Mom and Dad, then I'll call you. I know how to use a felly tone now. A telephone, Ron, said Hermione. Honestly, you should take Muggle Studies next year. Ron ignored her.
I'm so excited to see that. Like, I really hope that's a scene in the movie, because I can see Arabella saying that.
Yeah.
Oh, so cute. Love that. My last one. Harry looked eagerly inside the envelope. There was another piece of parchment in there. He read it through quickly and felt suddenly as warm and contented as though he'd swallow a bottle of hot butterbeer in one gulp. I, Sirius Black, Harry Potter's godfather, hereby give him permission to visit Hogsmeade on weekends. But I just love the like, oh, he felt so good as if he had just had a nice hot butterbeer.
Yeah. The butterbeer that he wasn't allowed to have. And
Big sad.
I know.
And that's all my favorite lines.
Yeah. That's mine too, because we already read the other ones I had is Ron's eyes widened. The minute owl was still hooting excitedly. Keep him, he said uncertainly. He looked closely at the owl for a moment, then to Harry and Hermione's great surprise. He held him out for Crookshanks to sniff. So getting Crookshanks' approval. And then the yes I have, said Harry brightly. When referring to his godfather.
Yeah.
And that's I love that. And I read it in my head much differently than your Jim Dale impression.
So now moving on to our transfigurations, differences that the movies made from the books.
Well, this whole thing isn't even really in the movie, so there's that.
Is there anything that is like
No,
because the movie ends with
the movie ends
Harry getting the broom.
with the broom.
And our little freeze
It ends
frame.
with the great feast, right?
Well, Harry goes down, and Ron's on his crutch, and he's like talking about Fred and George. He's like, "I didn't mean to, Harry. That they made me open it. Did not."
So breakfast before the train. So we don't get any of the train scenes.
I'll tell you, here's a difference in the book. There is no Harry is never given a feather from Buckbeak.
Oh,
so
yes.
the feather's given with the broom. There's no
it's
reason
interesting
to
because in the movie they never say the broom is from Sirius. They have to use Buckbeak's feather as the hint that Sirius is connected to the broom, because in this obviously you get the letter which explains that the broom is from Sirius. So, and at the time that Sirius sent him the broom in this book, he doesn't have Buckbeak, so he couldn't send a feather.
The other one is that like we said, some of the lines that Dumbledore says are actually given to Sirius and Lupin. So, like, we mentioned one with Sirius already. There's a Lupin. There's one that's given to Lupin. Oh, it made a great deal of difference.
Oh, yes.
It made all the difference in the world. It saved an innocent man, all that. That's Lupin.
Yeah,
and there is
Harry
no Dumbledore.
says none of it mattered.
Yeah, and there is no Dumbledore conversation as well in the movie. Let's see. In the movie, Snape's not identified as being the one revealing Lupin's condition. That's not mentioned.
Yes, it's only in the movie he's like, he just says,
it seems
someone let slip.
There is no mention as to why Harry's Patronus is a stag, okay? Though it was included in the original script, and they should have kept it in, because they never say that all four of them would be Animagus. They never mentioned that James was also an Animagus.
In the movies, do they never say that James turned into a stag?
Nope.
Wow.
Never. So they should have included that line.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons, like, going back through this stuff, when people are like, why are they making a TV series? They already have this amazing movies. How are they going to redo it and do it differently? And I'm like, there's a ton that they cut out. There's so much they could do differently in the TV series than they did in the movies.
Yeah, so let me see. Wait, hold on. Oh, that's funny. Apparently there's a scene in the movie, and it's just the movie in general. This might be at the end of it, where there are 10. It says 10 Gryffindors.
Oh yes. Okay, so that is a
Harry
funny
only
thing.
has 8 in his year.
So in the third movie, this little boy became a meme, but it's like the boy that reads Harry's the grim description.
You're talking about his name is. They call him Bim. You're talking about Bim.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so funny because he's like in the movie and he has multiple parts in the movie and then he like never appears again, but he's not mentioned in the book.
We've actually messaged on Instagram a little bit.
That guy?
Me and Bim. His name is like, it's like Equo or something.
Yeah.
It's a really cool name. A cow, I think maybe a cow. But yeah, he's still in acting. Still does a lot of stage plays too. And he's really sweet guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it was funny because this is the one movie that I noticed. I'm like, there are a lot more Gryffindors in there here that are mentioned in the book.
Yeah. So that's all of our transfigurations because the rest is just omissions. Moving on now to our golden snitches. And these are behind the scenes, tids and bits, lore grabs, stuff like that. I had two. And one I'm just going to slightly mention. And it's the Quidditch World Cup is name dropped. They talk about that. It's a thing, but I want to save that for next book. So that's called a hook, listeners. They're going to come back now because they want to know more about the World Cup, Quidditch World Cup.
I also do think it's very interesting that they end this book with Peter Pettigrew, and then the next book starts with the dream of Peter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The final one for this book, The Last Golden Snitch, is Muggle Studies. So I know it's already been said, but I've never used it as a golden snitch. And I needed one for this chapter. So, Muggle Studies was an elective subject and part of the non-magical studies curriculum at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. It involved the study of the history and daily lives of Muggles and how they were able to live without magic, but instead used electricity, technology, and science. The class aimed specifically to familiarize wizards and witches with how Muggles live their lives without magic. One known essay topic was Explain Why Muggles Need Electricity. All right, that was a past question, listeners. You got that right. It was an optional subject. Let's keep it moving. Muggle studies was considered a soft option by others, but Percy thought it was important for magical people to have an understanding of the non-magical community. I remember that conversation of him saying that to Harry. The last thing I wanted to mention here was two things. One, Arthur Weasley took Muggle studies as an elective during his third year at Hogwarts in 1963. He would later claim that cars were not taught as part of this subject during his time at school. Interesting. Quirinius Quirrell taught Muggle studies at Hogwarts until 1990 when he took a year-long sabbatical. So I didn't know that. Forgot about that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And then the last one was, there's this behind-the-scenes thing that I wanted to mention. The required textbook is Home Life and Social Habits of British Muggles by Wilhelm Wigworthy. And then behind the scenes. In the video game adaptation of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the subject is referred to as non-magical studies, as the game curiously goes to great lengths to avoid using the term Muggle.
Huh. That is interesting.
And then given that the non-magical population is called differently by wizards in different countries, it is presumable that other wizarding schools give the subject a different name, should they have taught it. So no matches.
Studies.
No, I don't like that. No. But anyway, that's all we got for Golden Snitches. And that wraps up our main coverage for all of Book 3. And now, listeners, we're about to hop into our restricted section, our Azkaban prison, if you will. Okay? So if you have not committed the crime of reading the rest of the books, if you are not guilty of such offense, then you need to leave. But if you have done such a thing, the Dementors are coming to take you away. All right? You finna get sucked by these Dementors.
Okay, very. There are so many things we've said this season where I'm like, that's very questionable retelling.
Hey, this is a family-friendly show. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, get your little soul sucked out and a kiss. But I guess the kiss is first, and that leads to the sucking. That's important to know about Dementor behavior.
So they're just sucking face.
That's true. That's true. Yes. That's what Dementors do, everybody. But that's pretty much it. So all the other listeners.
So I just thought of this, but it would be really funny if there were regional differences, because in Australia and Britain sometimes they say snogging. So what if it was the Dementor's snog? That would be
the Dementor's peck. I like that. And then, listeners, just so you know, Jessie, our wonderful guest host today, has a book you can get online if you haven't heard about it yet. What's it called, Jessie?
Die Young in the Wild.
Yeah, and where can they get it?
Amazon.
And it's under a different name.
Well, it's just under J. Salt Marlowe.
J. Salt Marlowe.
Yeah.
Very good. So make sure you check that out, listeners. Is there anything else you want to plug?
Just that one day soon I will be coming out with my own fantasy book series.
Yeah, I'm excited to keep reading it. It gave me, just from chapter 1, very much like I got a lot of Studio Ghibli vibes.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
that's
it's
the
funny.
world I picture.
That's good because that's kind of how I see it in my head. I imagine it like animated in Studio Ghibli style. But I liked what you said. It's like Studio Ghibli kind of meets the Hunger Games. And then if people have seen My Hero Academia, the anime, it's kind of got that little vibe too.
I thought it was My Hero Academia.
It is. Well, because I always watch it in Japanese. So
Is that what academia means?
yeah, it's Academy. It's Boku no Hero Academia.
That's what they should call it. I don't know why it's called. I like that. That makes sense.
Yeah, well, I know because a lot of people refer to it in Japanese. It's like Boku no Hero. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it's called in English. But
My Hero.
yeah, I know. Yeah.
And usually when I hear people talk about it, they just say My Hero.
Yeah.
But Barry, this isn't Harry Potter. I know, we're here now. Okay, so we're here in the restricted section. You've been locked away on the island prison. So let's just walk through the 2 chapters. Because I wrote down, like, where I would want to mention something. So my first one, do you think Snape knows that Sirius is innocent?
Okay, I thought a lot about this because it really sounds like Snape didn't even realize that they were animagus. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how that was the case because I always just assumed that Sirius, like, I don't know, I assumed that when the Marauders played this prank on him that Sirius told him to go to the Whomping Willow, the Stricken Shack or whatever, that he, like, let him there as a dog and then James saved him as Prongs. And so
Really? I've never considered that.
Well, I know. Well, I just, like, in my own headcanon, just thought that Sirius knew they were animagus. But then I realized that he couldn't have, or else he would have told. He would have told on them.
Yeah.
So he couldn't have that knowledge. Mm-hmm. And then even to, like, because I always wondered, too, like, why didn't Dumbledore say anything? But it was because he said he didn't know either. Mm-hmm. And I just find that, like, it is impressive, as Dumbledore says, because you think about all the things Dumbledore knows are happening in the castle, and he didn't realize, because even in, like, Hogwarts Mystery, the video game, they have you go through this whole thing to become an animagi, and however you say it, and, like, you have to do the potion for, like, a whole month, and it has to have, like, a lightning storm or a full moon or all these things that are really complicated. And so I just find it hard that no one noticed they did this in Hogwarts, and then no one noticed they were sneaking out of the castle as animals. And
I guess their behavior as, like, troublemakers helps with that. So it's when they see them doing crazy things, they're not necessarily connecting dots. They're just doing their crazy thing.
Yeah.
But I was curious if, like, Snape knew that Sirius was innocent, of, like, that he wasn't the secret keeper, but I don't, because he was in the inner circle of Voldemort.
Well, yeah, I thought that too. Like, did he not know? Because, like, wouldn't he know that Voldemort got the Fidelis charm figured out through Peter Pettigrew? Because then Peter Pettigrew would. I don't know. I don't know when he flipped. Like, did the other...
It seemed to be last minute, is what they said.
Yeah.
I don't think Snape knew. And the reason I don't think Snape knew is because...
Well, he says he already proved he was capable of murder at 16.
Yeah, so I don't think that information of where the Potters were... It didn't go through Snape to Voldemort. It went directly to Voldemort. And we learned from Dumbledore later, Dumbledore says about Voldemort that he doesn't have any friends. He doesn't trust anybody. Yeah. And so it's not like he would straight up just tell who all his informants are to Snape. I don't think he would anyway.
Yeah, I guess I just kind of pictured, like, the Death Eaters being the one to catch Peter Pettigrew and then bring him to Voldemort or something along those lines, because otherwise it sounds like Peter Pettigrew just, like, walked up to Voldemort and is like, hey, you want to know something?
That's a good point. You literally just changed my mind, because in the previous chapters Sirius says there's some people in there that aren't so happy with you, Peter. Like, they knew that Peter was an informant. on that side. Okay.
So that's the one thing, because it does seem from these lines in this book that Snape thinks that... Well, and like, maybe he does know Sirius is innocent, but he just hates him so much that he wants him to go down for it.
That could be the case. Yeah. Listeners, write in and tell us what you think.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because that was my restricted section to what Snape knew about Peter flipping. But yeah, you're right.
So we got another one was time travel, and I just thought it was funny that, like, so something that she has said is that she actually is like kind of feels not the most confident about including time travel after all was said and done. JK, she was kind of like, yeah, it is pretty messy, and that's why she destroys all the Turners in book 5.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that she goes back on that with the play. And I
know, that's what I always wonder about, because she went through this whole thing of it is so complicated and messy, and then in Cursed Child she's like, let's make it messy.
Yeah, I think maybe in her mind, so there's something that when people ask George R.R. Martin about his books, and he'll say, like, the character in the book did this, but the character in the movie did this, which is like canon, which is the real thing.
Yeah.
And he always gives a cool analogy of like how, I think it's the what's the movie? Gone with the Wind.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it's that movie, but he says the woman in that movie had like however many kids, but in the book she has a different number of kids. And so he'll always ask, as a response to the reporter, which is true? And they're like, we don't know. Or he says, how many kids does she really have? We don't know. And he goes, neither, because she's not real. And he says, they're different worlds. Like, it's different versions. So if you want to hold to this one, that's fine. If you want to hold this one, that's fine. Yeah. And so I say all that to say, I think that perhaps when it came to the play, J.K. was kind of in the mindset of, this is a play. This is a different world.
Yeah.
Like, there is no such thing as, like,
fan fiction, as we said.
Yeah, there is no such thing as actual canon. Or at least, if there is there's different form. There's the canon for the books, canon for the movies, and now there's canon for play.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
I think about it,
and there'll be a canon for the show.
Yeah,
it'll be different. But anyway, let me see. Do I have any other restricted sections? We have the Pettigrew call out. Of because later in book 7, Harry will have that interaction with Pettigrew where Pettigrew doesn't kill him when he has the chance, and then
and when Pettigrew ends up being killed because he doesn't. He has a moment where he realizes he owes Harry and he doesn't act, and then the hand that Voldemort gave him chokes him.
The other one, again, we got the Trelawney prophecy that is not told what it is, and obviously it's the prophecy about a child that will be born who will take down the Dark Lord, and I don't think we don't get to hear about that until book 5. So I thought that was interesting, and
even to find out that prophecy was made to Dumbledore,
and from her, And then I think my last one is Percy. If I manage to get into the Ministry, I'll have a lot of proposals to make about magical law enforcement, and he does get into the Ministry.
Yeah. Yay. And that starts his misunderstanding lots of things. He goes on from there to think he's Sirius Black, that bad guy, and he thinks that Sirius is a criminal until the 7th book. So
yeah, I do have a bit of listen, I don't like Percy, but as I've grown older, I've come to have a bit more sympathy for him, because when he betrays his family and acts the way he does so when he is, it starts as a teenager, and then, so I guess they finish at 17. He graduates this year, so 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 17 to 21, maybe 22 at the oldest. People talk about how women mature quicker, and I'm sure that maybe that includes brain function too, all this, whatever. When I think of, as a guy, my thought process and how I handled things, I not despise, but I'm so much more grateful at the way I think about things now versus 3 years ago, and I'm 28 now. So I feel sympathy, because it's you probably didn't have the faculties to quite comprehend everything in the way that you needed to, or at least the emotional maturity to navigate some things.
Well, I get that. Like, I do think there is a lot to, you think about when you're a teenager and you're like, oh my gosh, my parents don't understand anything, and you're kind of at odds with them. And then you go to college, and then it's like, after you come home from college, you're like, yeah, my parents really knew what they were doing. Let me give them a call to like ask them all this advice, you know?
Yeah.
And then people always talk about how much better friends they become with their parents after college, and you like rely on them and their wisdom, and you understand that they were right all along, mostly. But I also struggle with it though, because like Percy was against his whole family.
Yeah.
So everyone else knew the truths. And I just got to think, like, you're so arrogant to think you were the only one right and your whole family is just buying into this propaganda. Like Bill is on the side. Like, okay, so regardless of what you think of your crazy muggle loving dad, like you have your older brother that was also head boy that you used to really respect. And you're just like, oh, he's off his rocker too.
Yeah. But that's another thing, is that like the importance of a great deal of many people thinking something doesn't always affect you, I guess. And so what I mean by that is like I know I have a friend, like my conspiracy theory friend, and he'll bring up certain things to me, and I'll say, buddy, you have these many people in your lives who say otherwise. Like, don't you respect that opinion too? I knew one lady who she stopped listening to a certain pastor because he changed his theology on a certain point. And it was really funny the way she told me. She goes, man, he is so smart, so intelligent, and I've appreciated what he's had for so long, but he just changed his stance to like move to this, and I can't listen to him anymore. And I thought, maybe there's a reason he changed his stance. Like you just said, how you just talked about how incredibly smart he was and good-natured and all this. Perhaps he changed for a reason.
Yeah.
I get that. But other than that, that's really all. I was going to say something, but we kind of moved past it. That's all I got for this chapter, this book. Anything else you wanted to mention?
That's it.
Yay! Well, we completed Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yay!
Woo! That was so much fun. I had a
was.
great time. Jessie, thank you for being on the final chapter coverage episode. All right, this was great. Listeners, thank you for sticking around. I hope that during these Burr months, however you wish to interpret the Burr, you are enjoying some Potter stuff, the magic, the fun, being with the fam, the friends, and having a good time.
And hopefully butterbeer.
I need to look up some more recipes.
I know. I need some hot butterbeer.
Yeah, they mentioned that in the Wizarding House Common Rooms episode, and I need to try their recipe. But listeners, next week, that's all we got for this week. Make sure you come back next week, though, for our Best of Book 3 episode. Yay! And it will be with Wheezy the Red, if you remember her. And that's all we got. All right, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
And click. Thank you for listening to Retold. Artwork for this podcast was created by Rachel Ortlip. Music was created by Taylor Jarvis. And the Retold podcast is produced by me. That's right, I made this.